The following podcast contains mature language and adult discussion.
Hey, T. You know, I was wondering the cartoon Bea Arthur has got a rack. I'm gonna have to go back and check the accuracy. I'm gonna have to put on some Nick at Night tonight, maybe, and check the accuracy of the bod, of Bea's bod. Was she killing it? I mean, that's an impressive drawing. I'm assuming Wesley did some research.
I think that's more of that, like the memory of a 12-year-old paperboy type thing.
Right.
You know, maybe. There was this lady on my paper route, and she was kind of hot. I just used to, always have that, come on inside. My husband's in Antarctica. I don't have.
I think I read that in Penthouse Forum.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have the 75 cents. Don't worry, I've got 11 soft.
Right, exactly.
Boom. And the next thing you know.
What's the title of that article? Good news.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good news on the doorstep.
Who tipped who?
Kliq This is with you again. I'm Sean. This is Kevin. We're still and will forever be in this real-time process that you are all a part of with us. Kevin choosing to share this part of his life with, a few 100,000 people every month. We're 2 weeks out. And what are your days like?
Oh, it's last night was I was sitting there. I was talking with guys before we went on the air, and I was saying that I was revisiting Newsroom on HBO Max, and I used to cherish late night because everybody was in bed. But I always looked forward to, my 4 o'clock, my 4 o'clock buddy, prancing down. And, it didn't happen last night. And, man, I just had a meltdown.
Right. That's, we mentioned last week, there is the shock at the death announcement. And you were there for all of it. So you went through it. But it's the living, it's the trying to swim with a weight on your back. It's like having a boulder chained to your back and you're in the water and you try to get some momentum, I would imagine.
And it's like, I don't care how intelligent you are and how rational you are. It's very hard to rationalize that you're not going to see or hear from that human being in this realm again. And it just...
Yeah, you can't even try. I mean, it's not possible. Yeah.
I can lay in his bed. I can, I can do everything, but I'm sitting down here right now, like I said last week, with that empty chair in front of me,
Mm-hmm. You keep the chair, though.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. I often do that in my head when I do that, what if it was me scenario with any passing that's tragic. And I'm fairly certain I would be the nut that's talking to the person all the fucking time. And there's just, I think, a part of my brain that I don't know that I'd be able to turn off entirely with that acceptance that they're not there. I think
it's like my phone, and you know how you have your favorites, and your favorites. I always like they're the only people on my phone that have an actual picture, and so it's like I've got a picture of Vince Cianci, I got a picture of Scott, I got a picture of Test, and now my son.
You mentioned this. Was it Vin? His first name.
Vince.
Yeah, Vince. And you mentioned, but you didn't go into it. This was a friend of yours,
Right.
not from wrestling, just from.
No, just a
Okay.
like we're just a buddy. Our like his mother sold us some real estate down here. And he was down on a visit, and we went all out and had dinner. And then we had the, as you said, well, I said we went on a Disney cruise. He said, I'm sorry. But, we went on that Disney cruise, and then the boys hit it off, and the wives hit it off, and he and I hit it off. And I think we hit it off because, I think I'm the only human being that could go beer for beer with him and vice versa. So, which, again, I'm not, I'm in no way glamorizing it because that's why he's not here.
How old was he, Kev?
Vince was probably 52.
Jesus Christ.
Well, fuck, try 26.
Yeah, no, of course. Well, of course. But I mean, just the number of people that we're talking about now with that similar challenge.
You know what? And the one thing is as hard as it is to share, and as hard as it is to be transparent and to say that, we don't live in we don't live in Mayberry RFD. We don't live in fucking Leave It to Beaverland. But like, there's a lot of people that have reached out, man, and if 2 or 3 different people have reached out on different social media things, is that they've really taken a look at their lives, and they're trying to clean their act up and doing it for their kids, and because I promise you, man, like my son, he wasn't feeling well, but he had it was BAM, and that's just
and too late. Irreversible at a certain point. So you're right. There is a lot of that feedback. Some more of that feedback. I wanted to go through some of that today. David Upchurch said, the Bluechew ad joke was absolutely perfect timing. Always loved Kev as a person, like him even more now. Better man than me, putting out a show so soon. I was talking about that first show 2 weeks ago. Dread the Rogue says, I found and bought Tristan's band's album. It's amazing. There's so much musical talent on that record. Through that, Tristan will continue to touch the hearts and minds of more people in the future.
Guess we're going to have to re-release it. I don't think there's I don't know how many copies they ever even threw out.
He got it somewhere. I should probably try and get in touch with him and see where they were. It must be online somewhere.
Probably
search it out.
Probably Bandcamp. I know you can. I know it's a downloadable.
Is it the Builders?
Yeah, the Builders. There's a group called Builders.
Right.
But they're the Builders.
Okay. Yeah, so look for it. We'll let you know. We'll let you know on social media if we get the actual
Boxcar, A Jug of Wine.
Is the album?
Yeah, that's the name of the.
Okay.
That was I'm almost positive because my son named it. I think that's the lyrics to a Manson song.
Oh, one of the songs that
I'm almost positive
Charles Manson wrote.
Yeah. That the Beach Boys fucking stole.
Timothy Farr, Kevin and Sean have a rapport that is missing in a lot of wrestling podcasts. I would venture to say
not because we're
all podcasts.
Because we're friends.
We didn't just get together to talk about the Bunkhouse Stampede. I don't want to blow anyone's mind with that, but in the last few weeks alone, this podcast has become must-see for me because of the honesty, humor, and love that shines through with every minute. Thank you, Timothy. Thomas Johnson, you guys would tear down the house in a black barbershop. Just saying. I listen while at work, and I feel like I'm in the same room every time. You know, if the comparisons between me and Ice Cube don't stop, I'm going to have to do something drastic about my appearance.
I mean, I knew I had game, but this whole LeBron James thing that I'm getting thrown at lately has just been too much.
I got an idea. Let's do a shittily shot promo. I have to drop that. That was going to go somewhere very evil. There's a barbershop commercial that I saw recently. Steve, you might have seen this. Some guys, some celebrities, some older celebrities sitting around a barbershop talking about a product, and just the direction and acting and editing, and it always just kind of had me. But we'll go type anything in the comments. Dusty Haynes, let's see. I subscribed because of last week's episode. Kev's all vol like me, volunteers. But I unfollowed him on Twitter because of his politics. I subscribed here because of last week's story. Big Orange Nation's got your back, whether you smacked Coach DeVoe or not. Was it a smack or a choke? Did you choke him?
I smacked him.
Oh, see, I had it like a choke.
No, I smacked him.
The one-arm power bomb. Tim Hastings.
One of the many mistakes of my life.
I don't know. It certainly gives you something to talk about.
Yeah.
Tim Hastings,
like I said, you know, his T would just hear me, you know, hear these stories, and it was always just like, fucking, my dad's a menace.
A menace to society.
Yeah.
Is that a quote? Can I quote T from now on and say Nash is just a menace? You got to excuse him. He's just a menace. Tim Hastings.
It's almost like if I was going to be on Broadway, I'd play Haiti. I don't know.
I'm telling you, Hades, casting directors everywhere. Hey, Noel, to make this happen, he's got to.
Yeah.
He's got to play Hades in the. Maybe they'll do a straight version without music. I don't know if that's possible, but maybe we'll work on that. Tim Hastings, from one father to another, we hope you and yours can feel the love that so much of us back here in the 313 have for you during this horrible time in your lives. Stay strong, my brother, and if you need us, we're always here for you. It's always been round, never square, and totally missed the Joe, the stadium, and the dome. Always been round, never been square. Confirmation from Tim Hastings.
313.
John Morgan, I've made 2 comments ever on this platform in the 17 years of its inception. I lost my dad almost a year ago, and I'm still not over it. I'll never be over it. But to see you guys be real, unfiltered, and to let us strangers on the internet with no relation whatsoever be a part of your grief has made my always quiet ass open up and say thank you. I don't think you know how much this has helped me personally. I hope you find peace soon. Thanks again for letting us in. John Morgan.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you for the ride. Coming for the ride. Speaking of that platform, who knows what's going to happen to that platform after Elon Musk is done with the fire sale that is becoming Twitter. We should probably give our Instagram handles right now, just in case we have to bail and everyone can find us.
You know what? I've actually put. You and I talked about this a couple. Was it yesterday?
It might have been.
It's a hell of a burp. Was it yesterday or the day before?
It was the day before, actually.
And so, he says, basically that everybody can have a check. That's
a check mark. Yeah, a verification check mark. What the fuck? What the heck? I mean,
so I want to be real Elon Musk, and I want a check mark.
Brilliant.
That's what I want. I'm gonna change mine to real Elon Musk, and I want a check mark. And why can't I have one?
Well, it seems like you can now because you just have to pay for it, right? Well, listen,
and you know what? right now, like I just saw an ad where some girl was telling me that I'm trying to get situated here. Spinal issues.
Moving it to the left.
Yeah. I mean, I got my junk's off. I mean, I don't have underwear on, so I'm getting that whole like junk movement thing.
Sticking to the leg, and the good thing you have your Manscaped ball deodorant going on too, though, and your toner.
I mean, I'm toned.
Yeah,
I'm toned. But anyway, she was talking about this girl's on, I don't know what medium it was, but she's saying that she now can get Netflix for $6.95 for the ad version. I'm thinking, if you're getting the ad version for $6.95 for Netflix, and I'm paying $8 for a check.
right.
Like, why am I like? You got like, I have to see what I'm getting for $8.
Nothing.
Because I know that I'm not. I know I'm not going to Mars. Okay, I think Teslas are ugly as fuck. So I know I'm not buying one of those. And so far, I don't see, well, I guess no policy is going to be the policy until there is policy, because there is no policy right now. And it seems like anarchy. Like, I always think that, if you're going to like rewrite the Constitution, while you do it, just have a national purge. Just let everything go, because I think they only made 5 of those. We can make 6 or 7 of those, can't we?
I don't remember if I talked about it here or not, but I read an article that talked about nations' constitutions or their articles of law, and the average amount of time that each one has lasted before having to be redrawn. 17 years. 17 years. But I digress from Twitter. The Instagram, the Twitter checkmark, okay, the Twitter verification was supposed to be a vetting to prevent anybody up to shenanigans posing as somebody else, posing as an authority, not just a celebrity, but a department in government. That check mark was an assurance for the reader that there was some authentication. You can't sell authentication.
No.
You can't sell the results of a DNA test. So, let's see. Twitter's currently, I saw this. Lords and Peasant system for who doesn't have a blue check is bullshit. Power to the people. Blue for $8 a month. He missed the entire point of this. Yes, it's not a gatekeeper issue. It's a validation. It's an authenticity.
But on top of that, we're giving the power to the people of the blue for just $5 shipping and handling on the Bluechew.
Yeah, you're right. That blue would be worth $80 a month if you were
exactly.
If you were having a hard time getting it up.
I'm not exactly getting boned out over this at all.
No.
I just want to know. So there's really 600,000 people that like this.
Apparently.
I mean,
listen, any Jim Jones put how many people to death down in Jonestown. Troglodytes will follow anything, but it's just ill-conceived. The money grab. There's a lot of ways you can make money with socials. Doesn't have to be the one authentication system that the goddamn platform had. It's bad enough it's going to be a haven for misinformation again. Free speech, by the way, is not misinformation. Or I should say misinformation is not free speech.
No.
Okay. People give the example all the time, screaming fire in the theater. Right. If it's doing damage, it's not free speech, and it's also not protected. So all the yahoos who think that this is a grab at free speech, it's patently ridiculous to say that. Freedom's been. I love when I pass these guys with their Under Armour Freedom shirts. I always fantasize for a moment of going up and offering my hand and saying, "Freedom, brother. Yes, freedom to marry who you want, freedom to love who you want, freedom for a woman to care for her body. Just to see the reaction. They go, it's not the freedom I'm talking about. Freedom. Look it up.
Yeah.
Check the definition. Well, in the financing, if you read any of the articles about the financing of the $44 billion Twitter deal with Elon Musk, I see the Saudi prince.
1.89, I think he's got involved.
Kicking in some money. Always good to get entangled with the Saudis further.
Especially when they're fucking us on the oil.
Right, yeah. The oil. Record profits, though, Kev. Did you check that out?
You know what? Let's just not go down that rabbit hole because we have no idea what we're talking about when it comes to petroleum.
And profit, that whole subtracting expenses from revenue, leaving profit.
Record profits that I mean, it's, I don't know.
Listen,
but it's, it's Biden's fault.
Enough of losing our freedom completely in this country, thanks to the megalomaniac power brokers. A dildo hit the ice in Buffalo. We have some video of this here, and it was the Buffalo Bills game that we initially reported, but it's becoming a thing, and the Buffalo Sabres treated. There it is, and it actually is not as unwieldy on the ice as I'd imagine it would be. I thought it would, almost like when the puck end over ends and stuff. This was a pretty clean swipe. If we can replay, I don't know which player it was, who took a shot at the dildo. There it goes. He probably could have put it in the net with how straight it traveled.
In the hole. It's in the hole.
Nope, as it were. Exactly.
Exactly.
They have to do that. They do those games with in between periods where they have people come down, again, no pun intended. They have people come down onto the ice and try to shoot through a smaller. They have to do the dildo shot.
I think a giant like that, the Great American, whatever that is, the Great American Challenge, that giant dildo that's like the size of a fire extinguisher, where you could actually maybe put your forehead on it and run around it and then run the bases at baseball games.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a dildo in a lot of really fun, just family atmosphere kind of things.
Perry Saturn. Were you fond of Perry, Kev?
Yeah. Perry
Saturn told a story on a kayfabe commentary show one time in the hallway of a hotel. They put out a slip and slide. You know what this is? It shoots where the kids slide on it and it's wet and it's got water. They put a slip and slide in the hotel hallway and had a rat down at one end with her legs in the stirrups. Perry strapped a dildo on his head and ran down the hallway, slid in the slip and slide for final insertion into the rat.
While Kenny Loggins sang Highway to the Danger Zone, which is unbelievable.
Wholehearted. I mean, we could, what songs would we be playing? So, another thing we talked about last week that I wanted to bring up, it's not as long as the RVD video from last week. We ended up calling the show Life After, but for a minute there it was going to be called Pick a Hand because we spent so much goddamn time on it. But I have the clip of Scott Hall reacting to both of your F, marry, kills. And I was pissing my pants when I looked at it. I said, we have to bring it up because he was so fucking funny.
For the women out there that would be considering playing this game, tell them who the best to have a fun night versus marry, and then who should just be off altogether.
If I'm doing the fucking,
you're speaking for the women. You're in the point of view of the woman.
Oh, but wait a minute.
Well, you're not all gay, so if women out there want to know who they should fuck, who they should marry, who they should
Sean's having a hard time with this, but once he gets it, it's
definitely fuck Nash. If a woman's asking who they should fuck, it would be Nash. Marry Sean and probably kill Scott.
Wouldn't be a very pleasant home life, would it?
I'm just saying, like, you know, I mean, I love them all to death, man. I fucking wouldn't want anything to happen to them.
No,
I'm just saying, a woman would probably come to those conclusions herself.
Fuck you, you little dick.
In Nash's U-Shoot, he was asked the same question.
Waldman, Michaels, Scott Hall. Go ahead. Gun to your head. Gotta fuck one, gotta marry one, gotta kill.
Kid's a freak, so I'm gonna fuck him. I'm gonna marry Sean, and as fucking Charlie Manson said, I'm already dead.
There it is.
Well, two of my buddies want me dead, or at least want to kill me.
Here you go. Here's the forum. F, marry, kill. Park, Sean, Nash.
I'd probably fuck Sean. And can I kill both Kev and fucking Pac?
Take Nash.
Fucking dicks. Fuck you both. No, I would marry Kev and kill Sean.
Okay. Horsecock Express. Rank the members of the Kliq in terms of hose size. From smallest to largest. Okay, here.
We don't have to play through this, but Kev, if you're curious.
The Kliq's dicks. So on the one end of the spectrum, you've got Virgil. And on the other end of the spectrum, this is Seth Rollins, right? Okay, Seth Rollins' micro penis. Please place the Kliq in the board.
I haven't really observed a lot of cocks. I don't know if I could.
Speculation, maybe. They say, what do the women say? The hands, the feet? I don't know. The nose? Oh.
Well, if you go by noses, I'd put fucking Triple H way if I put him down there by Virgil. I mean, if you're going by feet size, then Kev would be right there.
Well, Sean's was advertised in the China video, so that is public knowledge.
I never saw the video.
Okay.
I remember one time Konnan, we were at TNA TV when it like first came out, and Conan was like, "Hey, you want to see it?" I'm thinking, no. I mean, I've seen it with the smoking hot broad in Cleveland and turned the light. Like, okay, I've seen you fuck a million times. Like, I don't really.
There you go.
The best you could do was a fucking picture of me in a fucking jumpsuit.
It had to be public. It had to be something we could news that we could use the rights to.
Wow, thanks. I think we're all gonna fuck you then kill you.
You had your chance with the all Sean version last week. Well, listen.
At least X-Pac. At least X-Pac and I have fallen in love with each other. So
yes. Listen, folks. If you thought we were going if you thought that was a little stiff, the nights are getting longer. The breeze is not the only thing getting stiff. That's right. We are sponsored by Bluechew for our stiff one of the week. Guys, confidence can take you far in life, and it's never more true than in the bedroom. Okay, it's all about performance, guys. Taking a little bit of that pressure off you. It's all mental, right? It's so mental. Getting it on. And listen, if you want a little extra confidence where you don't have to worry about performance, Bluechew comes to your rescue. It's a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night. Plan ahead. Be ready whenever the opportunity arises. They're chewable. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com. You consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you get your prescription within days. Best part, all online, guys. Okay, no visits to the doctor, talking about this face-to-face, standing around the pharmacy while they're peeking out to see who's getting the prescription filled. It's all done online. Shows up at your door in discreet packaging. They're made in the USA, and they say there's nothing sexier than confidence. So chew it and do it, guys. Okay, if you could use a little boost next time you're heading to the boudoir. Now, we've got a special deal for you, okay? You're going to try Bluechew for free when you use our promo code NASH at checkout. Just pay $5 for shipping, okay? That's BlueChew.com, promo code NASH to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information, and we thank Bluechew for sponsoring the stiff one of the week. This stiff one is Tony Atlas talking about New Jack. Let's see. I guess there was no love lost there. I don't know the genesis of it, but let's take a look or a listen.
Question
Whatever we
from
have.
down in the hot land or Atlanta, Georgia, from your friend Quanny Green. He said, Tony, I've heard a lot about it on the internet, on Facebook, on YouTube. What is your problem with New Jack? And I really didn't have an answer for the guy.
He badmouthed me over the Brody incident when he was not there.
Why would he have a comment about you and the Brody incident?
Because he's an idiot.
What is his take on it?
He made fun of my southern accent. He just made fun of me, you know. I met New Jack. I've seen him in my lifetime twice. Mm-hmm. A guy came to me and showed me an interview that he said. Now here's a man I don't even know. Never met him a day in my life. And he would talk about that I was a punk, that I tried to have sex with some man or something. And he started
You tried to have sex with some man?
Yeah, and he started talking about that I was scared and I ran and left Brody and all this and that stuff. Just a bunch of lies, a bunch of bullshit, just to get ratings.
I don't think he was even in the business in 1988.
Right, he wasn't even around, but then it got to me because I almost lost my life with that.
What do you mean now?
Well, because Savio Vega told me, said,
okay.
right. Savio, you listen to Savio Vega on Jim Cornette show. He tell the story again. He said that Tony, if he don't shut his mouth, don't stop talking to people, police, but we're going to stick him too. He told Savio Vega in Spanish that he want to stab me too. Savio told me don't go to my room because they have people up there waiting on me. That's why I went to the airport.
Savio was a friend of you.
Savio Vega, yeah. He was our wrestler at TNT back then.
Yep, with face paint.
Right, but he understood what we were saying in the dressing room. They were going to stab me that same night because I was the one that was talking, telling the police what really happened.
Yeah.
You know, and so this guy sticking his mouth to where it belonged. Me and Brody was good friends, was a great guy. I was the only guy that stood up for Brody. And then when you stand up, put your life on the line for somebody, and then you have some freaking to stand out there and badmouth you over. Yes, I call him that. Because he is one. You know, he's a piece. He's a
New
scum.
Jack?
Yeah, he's a piece of scum.
All right. Your thoughts on Tony and New Jack? We talked about New Jack here a little bit. You didn't know him that well, but what about Tony?
I always liked Tony. You know, Tony was always cool with me. I never had a problem with him.
You never walked on your face.
Well, no, but it just amazes me, like, who the fuck was interviewing him?
Okay. That's Dan Marotti, who actually just died in a car accident a couple of months ago, I believe. You can get me a date on that, Steve. You know what? I kind of liked him always. You know why? He had a very distinct personality. A lot of the guys in the shoot game as hosts were very generic. They didn't kind of have a brand, so to speak. They were just, read a list of questions. They weren't conversationalists at all. And I always thought Dan Marotti was his Boston accent always made me laugh, his pronunciations. And he was.
I don't know though, when you're talking about New Jack, and Tony Atlas goes on a rant, and he just cuts in. He goes, "New Jack."
Yeah, well, he was a little lost. That's okay.
I'm like, okay. I'm sorry that he passed, but
So I guess you were never a guest on the Boston Wrestling Show. I take it, judging from.
No, he passed on March the 11th.
Oh, was it March? Okay.
Yeah.
It felt like a few months ago. I see that we're going to edit. We're going to edit one of the terms that
interview seemed like a few months ago.
It took a few months.
Next time you bring up that guy, big hand.
I guess we're bleeping a term that came out of Tony's mouth, and that I guess that would be seen as racially insensitive, perhaps, even though Tony said it about New Jack. All right. It is time for Florida Man.
Tony very Kanye before Kanye.
Yeah, Kanye before Kanye. I like that. We can use that. But Tony was very contrarian in a lot of his opinions. He's a little bit of a shocking individual if you listen to his opinions on things. But you know, I errantly said he would walk on your face. He liked to be the recipient of the women stepping on his face with Vans. Actually, I thought it was like heels. We were doing a segment of his U shoot, and I'm showing him like heels. Like, would you like this on your face? Would you like this on your face? And he said no.
No, he wanted Avril Lavigne to do it with a pair of Vans on.
Vans, or he got so excited about China doing it. He pulled out a life-size cutout of China on air that he was carrying around with him, because she was going to be, like, I guess, at the convention he was going to. And he begins taking out all this China merchandise and saying, they're the face walkers that she wearing right there. Them they're face walkers. And he's showing the shoes. I know you enjoy the accent. He's showing the shoes. And then a full life-size a cutout is, I turned to him, I said, did you stop at a China store before you came here? How do you have all this merch? So
actually, he was registered for China.
Registered?
You know, like when you get married, you register for
China. Register for China. Jesus Christ. You're too esoteric. You're too... You see, you make jokes like that, and it's like, you know, this isn't a wrestling show.
That's true. I take it back.
Wrestlers can't reach for the kind of everyman humor, the Jerry Seinfeld humor. All right, Florida man or Jersey guy. Here we go. One headline, real headline, news item from an incident involving a Florida man or a Jersey guy, and Kevin will be getting. What's your record on this? We should have kept. Are you down? You're just down one, really, because there was a technicality on one.
Technicality. I'm.
Did you get it last week, or did you get hosed?
No, I didn't get hosed.
Okay. All right, here we go. Man arrested for calling 911 after his kitten denied entry into a strip club. And the other story, fugitive applies for a job at the sheriff's office. Man arrested for calling 911 after his kitten is denied entry into a strip club. The joke writes itself if you want to. I'm leaving the goalie out of the net for that one, the kitten in the strip club. And then fugitive applies for a job at the sheriff's office.
Well, again, I just... Those could both go either way. This is kind of a... Let me think now.
I like the process. This is my favorite part of it. When you're verbalizing the thought process.
Well, I mean, you think about, okay, like to walk in to a strip club and you actually have a cat in your hand.
Yeah,
that's kind of, that has that kind of Jersey, because the guy might have, like, you know, he's a little bit pimped out, and he thinks like the chicks are going to be digging the fact that he's got the kitten. All women like cats. He's going to have. So I'm going to go with Jersey guy with the cat and just absolute fucking mental Florida man trying to get a job as he's being chased by a cop car.
Well, I think you didn't get it right, but had I shown you the guy at the strip club, you probably would have gotten it right. You got it, Steve? Do I have a picture of? Oh, I don't have a picture of the guy. There was one website. If you search it out, you'll see the mugshot. I actually
Teddy Hart used to always have, like, Teddy Hart had those, like,
he trained cats.
Yeah, like those great cats, and like those things, man. They would pull women.
Well, he also had he ran a brothel too, so he put it all together there. So this is out of Murdoch, Florida. A man walks into a strip club with a cat. Please don't tell me you've heard this one. Everett Lags tried to enter a Murdoch, Florida strip joint last week with a kitten. They were both refused entry. He repeatedly called 911. Deputies arrested Lags for misusing 911 and other charges.
We didn't get where's his shot at?
Steve, that's him in the second row, the first picture. Yeah, that's right. No, there you go. Not pimped out, Kev. See, you would have gone full Florida man had I shown you that.
I would have just said, yeah, the guy was on meth too.
Yeah. And then, of course, how can we forget the guy?
Florida man arrested for having sex with alligator.
He should be given a medal. Forget about arrested.
Yeah.
If you could make that work.
I've seen the whole, where they actually wrestle them and, hold their mouths open because they don't have any. But
God, did you ever see that show where they go and swamp people, where they make their living catching alligators? I think it's on Discovery. Animal. I don't know what channel it's on. I want to report that, but it's called Swamp People, and they just follow people that live down on the bayou, mostly in Louisiana, and that's their job. They get up at like 5 a.m, and there's a very short period of time where you're allowed to hunt alligator. It's like a month. And they have to make enough money to sustain themselves for a year. And they buy the tags, like I think I'm going to catch 100 alligators this year, and they pay X amount of dollars for each tag to wrap around the foot and sell when they come back. And they're like, imagine leaving for work. As shitty as your job might be out there, and you don't want to slog through the weather this morning and go to the office or whatever. Imagine your entire goddamn living was dependent on you hauling in 10 12-foot alligators that day on these little boats, these small motorboats that they just pile the dead alligators on, and they're like climbing all over them. Fascinated by this. Yeah, so that's
that guy trains.
That's
that guy's on roids.
You laugh. He would have been the fourth hillbilly for McMahon in 1986 had he walked into his office in Stamford.
I think he was fourth in line on Ned Beatty.
Ding, 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 ding. Indeed. Let me tell you, speaking of Ned Beatty, I'm going to tell you guys right now, by just putting one small device in your meat, I'm going to guarantee you results in the kitchen, folks. Meater, MEATER, is the product. I have used this. I have this. And this is the perfect time of year to talk about this. We're in November. And guys, our favorite food coma holiday is coming up. And if you want to be sure you don't mess up that centerpiece turkey, I found the perfect tool. Make sure your food comes out perfectly juicy, not overcooked. You want the bird to be juicy. And, you have to drench it in gravy when it's dry. Meater, MEATER, is a sleek Bluetooth meat thermometer. Okay, it keeps an eye on your food and lets you know when it's ready to come out of the oven or even off the grill. It'll give you a countdown for the cook so you can keep watching the big game while Meater watches your food. Spend the time with your loved ones, kick back, have a beer, and nail that Thanksgiving bird. Super simple, super easy, perfect results. Have you guys ever mistimed a roast? The secret is it's not about the clock. It's not about the time. It's the temperature. When they give you the instructions, they're estimating how much time it will take to get that particular meat to a certain temperature. So go for the temperature. You stick the device right into the meat, up to the line, and the app is on your phone. You select the food, what type of cut, and it tells you the temperature, and it reads the thermometer. So I did a whole chicken the other day. I slid it and started at like 50 degrees out of the fridge, and it just kept going up, 53, 54 degrees, 55 degrees, and there's a timer below it, so it starts to adjust the time remaining based on the temperature as it changes. There's no wires, devices. I had one time for the grill that had these wires that had to come out of it to plug into the receiver, which sent the signal to my phone. It's two devices, and one is mine, my cell phone. I stick the thermometer in, and I look at the cell phone. Meater is the company. It can be used on a grill, smoker, oven, air fryer, rotisserie, literally anywhere. It comes with cloud service, so you have limitless range, and you could still monitor the food while you're watching TV or even running to the store. Monitor your turkey, steaks, prime ribs, chicken in this app, so this way you can relax and pretend you're doing a whole lot more. This is perfect holiday gift, okay? Get a free pair of heat-proof gloves. I have them. Big black gloves. You stick them in, and they're soft. It's not these inflexible rubber ones. With any Meter purchase, you're going to get the gloves. Okay, so go to meter.com, meater.com, and the barbecue oven mitts are coming to you with your purchase. You're going to use the code Kliq This, Kliq This, at checkout. Thanksgiving's coming up. Cook your meat to perfection. Get your free cooking gloves on meater.com with code Kliq This. And thank you all for heading out, checking out Meter. It's really great.
It really works well. We have one of those grills out back that it goes from like 5 degrees to 900. You know, the actual, you know, the gauge on it,
the range, yeah.
And it's just like you're like, oh, geez, and you're trying to eyeball it, you know, and it's like no, like
this is the home run, man.
There's nothing worse than watching somebody butterfly a fillet because they don't know what the hell they're doing. This takes the guesswork out. Perfect steak every time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you set how you like to eat it. You want it medium rare? You want it medium? You tell them the cut. You program it, and it's right there. Tremendous. Thank you, Meter, bringing us into our main topic for the week. You know, I think a lot of people were probably in disbelief when they saw the topic for this week. Right?
It's time.
It's time. It's marinated. We let it simmer, as Kevin would say. Kevin from Boston would say, it's simmer. Not done yet. Let it simmer.
Let it simmer, brother.
Let the heel simmer. And so this is going to be about the Bunkhouse Stampede. I guess everyone that watches this, people ask me sometimes, Kev, people who know me that don't watch wrestling, they'll hear about the podcast, they'll see coverage, and they always go, so is it all wrestling fans that listen? And I have to go, no. I mean, just because Kevin was a wrestler. So I guess there are others that need to be educated on what the hell the Bunkhouse Stampede was. Maybe they heard the joke every week, but they just don't know what the hell a Bunkhouse Stampede is. What was your reaction when you first heard about the Bunkhouse Stampede?
My personal?
Yeah.
I mean, it's you know, for me, it's a no-brainer. You know, when you, I mean, and I guess maybe because the whole Yellowstone, that show coming back around and kind of bringing that whole bunkhouse feel to things. And I just like, I say to myself, like, every time I watch that show, I say to myself, God, it's so funny because I don't hear the trains. And then I realized I'm not in Uniondale.
Right, you're not in Long Island.
No.
Right.
It's like, no, this is like because to me, I associate, especially a bunkhouse brawl or anything over the top rope, especially if it's a bunkhouse over the top of a cage. Just think about that alone. Somebody sat down in a room and said, hey, we're gonna have a Royal Rumble, but it's not gonna be over the top rope. It's gonna be over the top of a cage, and we're gonna have on shitty cowboy boots, tight-ass Wrangler pants. We're gonna be all taped up so we can't really, and we're just gonna make this as dangerous as possible. Yet, when you watch it, it's going to look absolutely pathetic. It's an incredible, incredible thought.
Well, I dig the come as you are. Like the Texas death match was always cool because the guys came to the ring in whatever their gear was. If it was Slaughter, he had the full fatigues with the helmet that he could wear, or if it was someone with a proclivity to wear cowboy boots, they could wear them through. So I dug the whole come as you are thing. But so the application of that to the Battle Royal. So if anyone doesn't know, it's Battle Royal, where the wrestlers wore bunkhouse gear. It didn't have to be in a cage. It could have been just a regular Battle Royal. Bunkhouse gear. I guess it had to be specific to the bunkhouse culture. I guess, did everyone do the belt buckles and the cowboy boots and the denim, or did anyone like come out in camouflage and a tutu?
Well, you had the Road Warriors who had
they did the spikes, right?
They wore the spikes.
Yeah, okay.
The Road Warriors came out with the spike. Barb didn't. Barbarian and Warlord didn't. They didn't come out in bunkhouse gear.
Right, the Russians, Ivan and Nikita brought the chains out. Yeah,
okay. It was. I think it was very market specific. It's when you look at it, it's such a. It just has that feeling of a Jackson Pollock, you know.
First time this has ever been used in comparison. Yeah. I love it though. I do. I think Pollock. I definitely think abstract. So Battle Royal rules. You know, you got to toss the other guy. Last guy remaining wins.
But then is when it goes to the cage, they add the unbelievably beautiful spots of you can go over the top or out the door.
Through the door, right.
That one in Uniondale, that three-man tussle in front of that door with Arn, Tully, and Lex, and Tully and Arn, who is so into the fact that he's going to get Lex out of this ring, basically sacrifices him because he takes all physics out of the equation, puts his feet on the top stair, bear hugs Lex around the waist, and now no matter what, if Lex goes out, he's gonna if he pulls Lex, he's taking one for the team, and lo and behold, it takes all three of them in Uniondale in that final match out of the ring. I've watched it in slow motion. I've watched it. It's just, it's, you think about like Morocco off the top of the cage. You think about, some things that Snuka did early in that time frame. But that three-man scrum in front of that door
in the doorway.
The
drama.
It's almost like when Raymond Burr is making his way at Rear Window, and you feel that Hitchcockian, that suspense is building and building. Right. It's just like,
Cock was definitely involved.
Right now, my pulse is like 106, 107. Unbelievable.
Just thinking about it.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. So the first annual Bunkhouse Stampede happens in 1985, actually, a full 3 years before the pay-per-view in Long Island. Okay. Now we have a few in the month of December 1985, December 7th and December 8th. Magnum wins both of those. Okay, respectively in Cleveland and Atlanta. Then
Cleveland, it's huge farm area there in Cleveland.
Once again, well chosen for the first match. I guess it happens in Cleveland. Yeah. Then Atlanta the following night. Then,
do you think they did that because the people of Cleveland had no earthly idea what a bunkhouse match would be, because they don't know what a bunkhouse is? So it's like,
as a test, like to test it out.
Well, just to see if it could draw just on curiosity. Like, oh, never heard of that before.
Well, I don't have
that-
the attendance. I wonder what it was, though. We could probably find it.
I bet you it was far less than 6,000.
Then on the 15th of December, 1985, and then again on the 28th of December of 1985, Dusty wins both of those. In Greensboro, okay, we're getting closer, right? Now we're choosing areas that might be a little more, and then Philly on the 28th.
I mean, I remember the first time I went to Philly when I was a young kid, and my uncle took me
To the ranch?
Well, no, he said to me, he said, "You want to get a cheesesteak, or you want to go brand some cows?" And I looked at him, I'm like, "What's a cheesesteak?" You know, because
Right.
it was, it's Philly. I mean, brand some cows.
Right, exactly. It's cheesesteak. It's Cow City.
I mean, I understand that the beef comes from a cow, but that's neither here nor there.
No. When you think Philly, you think ranch hands, you think large pens of animals and transient bunkhouse workers,
Yes.
stacking up in the barn for the night and going at it. So this is December 85. This is the 4 bunkhouse matches that happen on the road, all house shows, I think. And so then 1986 is the next time any Bunkhouse Stampede match happens, once again in December. So this appears that it's going to be an annual December event. In this year,
Almost like a, if you didn't get what you wanted for Christmas, or I mean, like, this is like, hey, you didn't get a bike, but I do have some upper bolt bunkhouse tickets,
right, to see you. So that December, Nikita, Hawk, Animal, Big Bubba, and Dusty win those. Then in 87, so now we get into 87, now the rules change. Okay, they throw a monkey wrench into the whole thing. I guess it was going too well, and they needed to change things up. Now, the winners of the most Bunkhouse Stampedes from all across the country would be awarded the grand prize.
So this is kind of what they did to NASCAR, how they fucked that whole thing up.
Well, you'll have to tell me. I have a degree. I don't watch NASCAR.
Well, NASCAR used to be just you won races, and then and you got points, and the Winston Cup. You just now it's tiers, and you go. It's like it's almost like a play-in thing, and I really don't know because I don't watch it anymore. And I live in I live in Daytona Beach with the Super Bowl basically of
I was going to say, you could probably smell the fuel for 2 weeks from your house.
You could definitely hear it from the ocean.
My God. So in 87, the rules change, and now whoever wins the most is going to be given the trophy and declared the Bunkhouse Stampede. But wouldn't you know it, by the end of 87, Big Bubba Rogers and Dusty are tied. So what do you do for the big blow-off? Where do you go to award the boot for the Bunkhouse Stampede? And Kev, if you're thinking the home of the Penguins and Steelers and Pirates, you would be correct. Pittsburgh Civic Center.
Well,
February 27th.
I actually saw that there was some important knowledge that came across the bottom of my screen. This is that I was only privy to. The Cleveland, of course, the first one now we know it was in Cleveland. It was a bunkhouse, and it drew 7,000, but there was some instead of the bunkhouse, the Stampede, they just called it the Cleveland Steamer. So I think there could have been some miscommunication there on exactly what they were going to see. Almost like a pigsty match or something like that.
Steve, you're from Philly. Did you attend the? Oh wait, hold on. This is 85. Were you even born? You weren't even born yet, I bet. You're born in 86. All right, F you. I turned 50 today, so the world is a different place through my lens today.
I don't remember 50.
Yeah. Oh, good. So I have a few years ahead of me to have some fun, I guess.
Yeah.
So 1988, Kevin, January 24th on pay-per-view, Nassau Coliseum in Long Island. Of course, it's a hotbed of bunkhouse talk. We've talked about that. 6,000 drawn. We've talked about the error in timing that happened. They actually put the wrong time out.
Or was it?
Right. I don't want to start any conspiracy theories here. I don't know if Paul Pelosi was at the event or not, but the pay-per-view does a respectable 200,000 buys, though, which isn't bad. But Vince, in his imminent intelligence, runs a Royal Rumble for free on USA Network.
With people that they actually know in the Northeast.
Running it for free on USA Network, and of course it diverts buys from the Bunkhouse Stampede. And anyone who may, in the New York area, as Kevin's indicating, may have wanted to go down to the ranch to watch the Stampede.
Can I ask you a question?
The guys that I've been watching every week in WWE are going to be on TV at that time, so maybe I'll stay home. Yeah.
Yeah, so I never saw Southern wrestling until I moved to Atlanta, which was in maybe, I don't know when that was, 85, maybe 86. I didn't know that there was, I saw big time wrestling, and it was the WWF. Like I saw big time when I was a kid. Then I went down, and Joe Pedicino had this like 6-hour block of wrestling that would be on Saturday nights. I mean, it had Georgia Championship. It had, Memphis. It had everything. I think it had Superstars, but then it had, the Saturday night WCW show.
The 605 from the Carolinas? From Atlanta, from the TV studio in Atlanta.
The TBS show. Yeah. So that was like the first time, like when people would talk about Dusty, and this is no disrespect because I was watching basketball. People, when I got into the business, and they'd be like, this is Dusty, I'd be like, oh yeah, he's that guy that had polka dots on his outfit. I had no idea about.
So the Dusty image you had in your head was the Vince Dusty,
yeah,
the WWE Dusty.
And then he was like, I'm like, how has this guy got so much stroke? So then it took me a while, and I was just like, and then because back then you could get VHS tapes. And I'm just like, not only is this guy like super over, but he's like charismatic, he was like so much. I mean, he was great. I mean, you can't take anything away from Dusty.
No, Dusty might be on the. People always ask who's on your Mount Rushmore of wrestling, and Dusty might have to be up there because he had the in-ring, right? He could keep an audience hot, and the goddamn camera loved him. He was just such a natural performer. He had a mind for the business. He was a booker too. I mean, he was the all-around one of the all-around greats.
I remember when they put Dusty with me and Scott for a pay-per-view, and he came down to the ring. And this is before he turned, and he came down with that John Wayne strut down that ramp, and I was just like, man, I said, look at this man. It's like this motherfucker, man. And he stole it. I mean, he knew how to steal it, and he did every chance he got. He did. So,
yeah, he was. How often did you work with Dusty?
I mean, I broke in when Dusty was, I broke in. Dusty was around during that time frame. at the beginning, and then I went off in '93, and then I came back, and Dusty was working with WCW when I came back with the NWO.
So the pay-per-view, like I said, it does 200,000 buys, which isn't bad. But Vince's free Royal Rumble on USA Network does an 8.2. I want to give you, for comparison's sake, listeners, youngins, Raw did 0.44 the week that I pulled this research, which was a couple of weeks ago. 8.2. 0.44. Okay, so that's the impact that the sport was having. So the lineup for the card, here's what drew the 6,000 fans and 200,000 buys on pay-per-view, which is pretty good. Nikita takes on Bobby Eaton with Jim Cornette. This ends in a time limit draw. This is for the World Television Championship. Nikita was holding the title at the time. I've worked with Nikita, and I like him a lot. I never bought the accent ever, not even close.
How do you say?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a little too cartoon. And you played a Russian, so I mean, you'd be an authority on playing a Russian. And being American, of course, as Nikita is. Scott,
I think growing up so close to Czechoslovakia,
right? It helps with the dialect a little.
Yes,
it softens the palate.
Yes,
for some of those hard R's. Ivan's accent, for that matter, was almost like. I don't know. Couldn't do a little better, I guess. Is what I was saying.
Well,
could we do better? You're on national television.
Yeah, you got to watch out because you are down there in that like the Sun Belt. That's what they call it.
Nikita as a babyface. How'd you feel about this? Aren't there some people that are just born heels or just born babyfaces, and you really can't flip them?
Yeah. I think there's some people that are natural, or I don't think that Sting was ever supposed to be. I mean, Sting's not a baby. Not a heel.
Right. Sting, you can't turn. Steamboat, you'd never be able to turn. Roddy was one of those weird cases where he was so over as a heel that he just kind of became a natural baby face. But then what you do is you got to leave that alone right there. Don't actually make him a baby face, because I feel that crippled him a little bit. My opinion, having never gotten in the ring.
I don't. I mean, there's just certain people that just I think you have to have some size to you to be a heel. A little bit.
Mm-hmm. So you didn't fear Sky Lolo?
Oh, if you turn Ray heel, I don't think the people would buy it.
Right. But again, but I don't think the size would do that. He's so over as a face.
Unless he had maybe some kind of Asian spike or. Maybe if he had one of those, came at you with one of those buffalo dildos.
Right.
That's heat.
That's heat. It might be a pop though these days. Who knows? These fans are as demented as the action in the ring. Second match: Larry Zbyszko with Baby Doll defeats Barry Windham.
This is for the Western.
Go ahead.
What is the Western Heritage?
The Western States Heritage Championship.
And we've had this conversation on numerous times. It's just like, if you can't book this in Halifax, Nova Scotia, book this son of a bitch in Uniondale, because it's about as east as you can go. But if you're going to have a Western, I
mean, your feet are getting wet if you take one more step off Long Island.
Yeah, let's just let that simmer. We don't even have to. We'll just let it simmer.
Were you upset that you were never in the running for the Western States Heritage titles? I mean, Michigan is. I mean, it's central, but it is certainly further west than Uniondale. And if it was defended in Uniondale.
And I think if you had it in Grand Rapids, which is Western Michigan, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually, I think Western Michigan University is in Kalamazoo.
Well, their gymnasium would have been a perfect place. Could have probably put 6,000 in there.
Phew. And there is actually some farmland out that way.
Yeah, right. For authenticity's sake.
Yeah.
Probably not on the college campus, but
no,
certainly.
No,
yeah.
but they may have a small ag campus. I don't know.
So it's Zbysko and Windham. Windham's the champion at the time, and Zbysko's such a character, isn't he?
Great.
You spent some time with Zbysko?
Oh yeah,
he's in Florida, isn't he?
Hmm?
He's somewhere down there. I know him and Scott were hanging out for a while. I saw
Scott loved him.
Yeah,
Scott loved working with him. Scott loved him.
One of the greatest. I told this in one of my books, so I'm not telling tales out of school here. One of my greatest worker stories. When you have to hire wrestlers, you very quickly see what every promoter in the history of wrestling has had to deal with. I get a call from Zbysko about 2 weeks before he's going to come on Timeline and do Timeline 1980, which he did and was great. But 2 weeks before, calls me and says, Sean, this is Zbysko. I want to reach out to you. I want to tell you, I'm having a problem with my teeth. Like spitting parts of my teeth out. They're like cracking. Getting old really sucks. So I was wondering if you could send me some of that money so I can get the teeth fixed before I go on your show. And I said, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. He turned it on me. If I don't get the teeth fixed, I'm going to be sitting on your show with cracked teeth. So it would be in your best interest, Sean, to help me get these teeth fixed before we shoot this. Brilliant. It wasn't just, listen, I don't know you. I need a guarantee. I need a deposit. No. I'll have no teeth for your show. I had to admire it.
There's a reason why only Larry and Barry Windham were ever held that belt.
What is that reason?
I mean, just two incredibly great workers. It couldn't go anywhere else.
Right. Who the hell else would have? Right.
Who else is going to take it that way? I mean, that and the fact that nobody ran fucking West. So.
Now, he married Vern's daughter, right?
Correct.
Which is, listen, it's kind of become a trope these days. You marry the boss's lady, but it did not work out as well for Larry as it did for other people that you might know. But did you call it the Zbysko? Like when Hunter and Steph started dating, did you kind of slide up and go, "What are you doing, the Zbysko here?" Like we said, Flair's name became a verb. Well, Zbysko's name could have been a verb. You're not pissing again, are you?
No.
Oh, all right.
I'm drinking unsweetened iced tea.
Okay. Well, that bottle could be the one.
No, that's a little
Would be a challenge.
Yeah. I might have to ice down for that.
Would you I could bring up a picture of Zbysko with the cracked teeth. Maybe that'll get you ready to drop your junk in that bottle. Would you ever work with we mentioned a baby doll here. Would you have ever worked with a valet? Not talking about Pam Anderson, talking about a consistent valet that you would have had to travel with, or do you think that would have complicated your ring performance?
I don't know. I wouldn't do. I wouldn't. Nah.
No.
Women don't travel like dudes. You know, we travel different. I don't care. They take, plus you got to split a room with them. Like, there's nothing worse than dropping a deuce, like and then knowing they got to come in and put makeup and brush your teeth and everything else. It's like, and if you're throwing my shit game off, and you're throwing my life off, you got to be gone.
So you would have had to room with her. See, to my mind, the ladies would have stayed separate. Like Baby Doll maybe stayed with Woman or somebody else who was working.
I mean, back when we were running 300 days a year, man, like, what are you gonna see you at the building? Hope you get there.
Yeah, I don't. Or meet you downstairs. I'll drive you.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're traveling with the valet, you would have been banging her, right? I mean, there's no question, right? I mean,
I was married, so I wouldn't be banging.
Not you. You general.
Oh.
One would have to be sleeping with the valet if they're sharing a hotel room. No,
she'd have to be pretty fucking hot. Because then I never got that, how these guys, they fall in love with these girls backstage, and the next thing you know, they're on the road with them, and it's just like, Jesus.
Right. It's disaster.
Right.
If it doesn't work out and you still have to work with them 300 days a year, someone's putting someone's head through a window.
Yeah. I think that Sean with Sherry was a good pairing.
Yeah, that kind of wasn't it?
That
well, she
worked.
was just great. She was.
Yeah, and there was never, like, nobody ever thought that Sean was, tapping that. It didn't put any strain on his relationship with his then wife, and so I just saw this is hot news, but it won't be hot news by the time this plays. But did you see the bottom of the screen where Jarrett showed up on AEW? Is that what did I read that?
Yeah. I'm seeing the news being reported to us. Yes.
Smacked Darby Allin with a guitar.
Mm-hmm. I'll have to check that out later.
How old's Jeff? Is he 54?
No, 54? Let's see here. 55. Okay, 55. Good call. Yeah, man, you can still do it.
Shit, I was still out there at 55.
Yeah, good for him. Match 3. Lest we forget that we're covering the Bunkhouse Stampede here. Let's not have too much frivolity. Road Warrior Hawk defeats Ric Flair by DQ. It never worked for me as a young fan when a tag, someone who was a tag to start with, not someone who got paired with someone later. When someone I came to know as part of a tag team would break singles for title shots, I knew they were never getting the strap. Because you can't dissolve the Road Warriors while Hawk wins the title. And now Animal, Solo, and Hawk walking around. No, they're the Road Warriors, goddammit. I always knew that title wasn't changing hands.
If you've ever, I did, that's one of the matches you can find.
On YouTube.
You can find that one. And Hawk absolutely no sells chops.
He was ahead of his time. It was before you said that on the show.
No sells chops and gives Flair like 25, gorilla presses.
Right. I didn't think you were allowed to no sell Rick's chops. But I guess when you're Hawk.
Hawk did.
Yeah, exactly. But I always felt you'd have to do that successfully, you've got to break them away. Like they did with Sean with Marty. Right? When you see that someone's who's in a tag team has the potential, you as the promoter or the booker have to get them away from that other person in the people's minds.
You can do like Sean and I, where I'm the champion, I'm the world champion, he's the Intercontinental champion, and we're the tag champions. And the whole locker room hates us. to the point where I did shit in 77 in the business that with Sean. The Kliq. Yeah. Back in the Bunkhouse Stampede when the Kliq was running shit. What?
You Yeah, you political. That was the word last week, right?
Yeah,
you just too political, you guys. So that
was Jericho.
Yeah. Jericho. But
Jericho is too
political. You personally have been called political by almost every worker that we've featured talking about you, right? Well, I said that was your quote, right? Everyone calls it the wrestling business until you start treating it like it, or whatever the quote was, but it was along those lines.
But I never understand how it was political. I never remember walking into the building going, wow, I got a lot of signs up in the hallway.
I'm going to stand in front of that ballot box with an AR-15 if you try to put a voting car envelope in there.
Hey, Bam Bam, I don't see any purple dye on your thumb. You need to get over there and vote.
Make sure it's dated or it doesn't count.
Exactly.
And then we're in the Stampede.
Here we go.
We're in it, and Dusty defeats Arn, Barbarian, Ivan Koloff, Lex Luger, Road Warrior Animal, Tully Blanchard, and the Warlord in what was the Bunkhouse steel cage match. Instead of the top rope, elimination comes by throwing an opponent out the door or hoisting them 20 feet in the air and throwing them over the top of the cage.
Some of the action at the end when it's just down to Barb and Dusty is, I think the only thing I can say is when the Linda guy walked between the Twin Towers, like that kind of I mean, just the peril of it is just, I mean, just go ahead and hang. Like, Barb, you hang as far as you can. I'm going to reach over and give you some, I mean, I'm going to stretch to give you a couple of elbows, and you're going to fall about that far.
With no leverage, really, right? Because you can't,
but I mean, you're going to fall to your demise.
Right.
I mean, it's just, I think that there was 12,000 people there. I think that halfway through that match, 6,000 ran for the exits.
After they demanded refunds, the count was down to 6.
Yeah.
You've done battle royals. I'm always fascinated by in what seems to be chaos. There has to be the pre-planned discussion of who's going out when, by whom, and about at what time. Right? This isn't all called in the ring.
No.
So is there like a, listen, you get 20, in this case it was only a handful, but in a regular battle royal, you might have 20 guys in the ring.
You might have 30 in a row rumble.
Not all very organized in their thought process and how to pull off this match. Is there anybody who's kind of calling something? Like one kind of ring general who's making sure it's going
in that small, in that kind of that bunkhouse thing. There were so few people in it. There's so few moving parts. It's kind of like,
Yeah, that was it. That was just like a 6-man tag, basically. It could have been worked out. But when I was looking like 20 guys. Like, does SD Jones know when he's supposed to?
The greatest thing of all time is, and they used to do this all the time, especially when I broke in, where they would get the green guy and like somebody like Bobby Eaton would call a spot, like a tackle drop down spot, and Bobby would send me off, and Bobby do like a spot like in the middle of the ring, but everybody was smart to it except the green guy, and everybody so Bobby does this spot and everybody's like, oh geez. Like, you don't do spots. Like as soon as the bell rings, all the big guys hunker their asses down on the second turnbuckle. I mean, it's if there's anything, this is the worst thing on earth. Used to be this. We used to do this sometimes at WWE when my first run is you would have a battle royal would start the night. And then you would wrestle who you went, like, so if you were the first guy out, you would wrestle the next guy out. So that way, like the last two guys in the battle royal you would dump that guy and then come back and have a match against him. You know,
Interesting format.
Yeah.
It's like the reverse Royal Rumble almost.
yeah, and but like just the absolute shits. That battle royal was so bad. Like you like 20 guys would be eliminated in like 6 minutes. Like what do you mean we've got to work twice? Fuck that. I'm out of here.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Bump me.
If 14 guys go out at the same time, we're like, how'd they go out? Just put them together.
Right.
So yeah.
There's no room to move. You're not hitting the ropes right, unless you're one of the last 3 in there. So right, you find a corner and it's like, I'll work the top rope. You 3 guys get my leg, and we'll do 10 minutes of you trying to roll me out.
I also used to love when like the Steiners or somebody would just bring up like a couple rolls of athletic tape, and then just tape somebody to the top rope, like just tape them, you know, like they're crucified, and then as this match is going on, each guy just goes by and just gives them a chop, you know. I don't know.
That could be you do that to the right guy. That could be really fun.
Yeah, there was
all night long, kick to the balls, and yeah. So so this is Dusty does the leverageless elbows to drop Barb. Drop who was left?
Barb.
It was Barb, right?
Yeah, Barb was left.
Warlord was in there, but he actually gets eliminated by Barbarian. I think was the thing there, right?
Whoa, what a tease.
Then you had the Blanchard Anderson double team with Luger at the door. And they all go out.
Like I said, I mean, that's just, it's like the Nutcracker. Just unbelievable.
So all in all, this is the last pay-per-view. This is the last Bunkhouse Stampede pay-per-view. Am I wrong about that?
They were going to have another one, and I think Waxman got with Congress, and they did something where they actually were able to make the bunkhouse matches illegal. So,
right, and they became unverified.
Yes.
Shortly thereafter, the check mark was taken off the Bunkhouse Stampede.
They were actually it's like how you like fentanyl's like is chill, but cocaine and cannabis. The bunkhouse matches actually were deemed kind of at the same level as snuff films. A lot of people don't know that.
More than 6,000 would have showed up.
Especially when, I mean, you're asking Barb to fall like that. It's, you don't want your kids doing that at home, like on a bunk bed. Think about it. Bunk bed, bunk house, kids falling like 3-4 inches. You know, that's a good way to just shatter their tip fib.
We could bring back the stamp if it was the bunk bed stampede. You might want to put a handful of workers on a massive bunk bed, so you could work you work the layers, right? Almost like a scaffold match, almost. And then it could be, you don't have to do the cage, but just whoever gets thrown off the bed. Maybe
how did Cornette ever get talked into taking that bump?
Oh, I've talked to him about that. That is a vicious, and the fact that he ass bumped it. I mean, he could have broken his spine.
Oh God, that's.
I mean, the size of his ass was considerably larger than it is now, so that absorbed a lot of it.
It's still though, man. Like, that's a pretty fucking ballsy thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, listen, he was fully committed.
Hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know you're getting hurt. It's just to what degree. It's like these idiots that do these things out. It's like some guys out there with a handheld, and they do that where they come at you with a car, and the guy's supposed to get out of the way of the car, like jump over it, and it's like the guy ends up getting crushed out in the parking lot it's like.
Where are you doing this? You mean to shoot it for an angle?
Yeah, I've seen it before. Like
like the Gold Dust Roddy car thing, and
all those those crazy things that just like only in pro wrestling.
Yeah, well, you're all basically stuntmen, aren't you? Really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's like you do for the movies. Although
Without insurance.
Without insurance, and you're doing it 30 times a month versus 3 times that day. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you do 2 fight scenes in 6 weeks on a film, and you don't work for another 3 years, and you do 50 bumps a night for 300 years for 20 years, and you wake up like I did this morning. I was just like, fuck me.
Take you a few minutes to get out of bed sometimes these days.
If it wasn't for the fact that I'm so regular on taking a deuce, it's kind of hard to stop that mudslide once it starts moving down the side of the California mountainside. It's like, oh boy,
time to park the longboat.
You can hold your piss, but you're good luck at holding a deuce. I'm not talking about a mudslide either. I mean, I'm talking about the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Before you get out of bed.
I woke up at 6. I said, fellas, it's been good to know ya.
Well, tomorrow before you get out of bed, I want you to think about something. Did you know that traditional bed sheets can harbor more bacteria than a toilet seat? It can lead to acne, allergies, stuffy noses. It's just gross all around. Miracle brand offers a whole line of self-cleaning, eco-friendly bedding like sheets, pillows, and comforters that prevent 99% of bacteria and require 3 times less laundering. This is true. Self-cooling properties also. It's a recipe for better sleep. Listen, we've talked about this with other products, the importance of temperature. Using these silver-infused fabrics, originally developed by NASA. I'm not kidding. Miracle brand sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, so you get the best sleep every night. They're self-cleaning. What on earth does this mean? These sheets are infused with natural silver that prevents 99% of the bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner, longer, fresher, 3 times longer, as a matter of fact, than other sheets. No more gross odors from your sheets. They're luxurious. They are comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands. They are the perfect holiday gift. Miracle sheets are for your spouse, friends, family. Who doesn't want to get better sleep and the luxurious feeling of quality bed sheets? Less laundering, thermo-gauging temperature, and these come with 3 free towels. You get 2 gifts in one, just in time for the holidays. It's great for your skin. Stop sleeping on bacteria. What's wrong with you? Go to trymiracle.com/Kevin. That's trymiracle, T-R-Y, miracle.com/Kevin. Try it today or give it to someone special this holiday season. Listen to this deal that Kevin has put together for you. Save 40%, okay? Be sure to use this code, though, Kevin, at checkout to save, and you're going to get 3 free towels anyway. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's back with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle brand. Go try Miracle. Go trymiracle.com/Kevin and use that code Kevin to claim your 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Kevin. Treat yourself, a friend, or a loved one this holiday season. Thank you, Miracle brand, for coming along and helping to sponsor this episode.
So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay. I got my miracle sheets.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell Tamara, I said, hey, I read her, everything, and I'm going to put them on the bed because I'm a dude. What do women do before you put a sheet on a bed?
They wash them first.
You got to.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, you have to. I'm like, no, with this, like, even if it's in the, like, this is like 99% less bacteria. So, like, you're like, there's a 1% chance if there's like, we can put these on. It's like, no. So we had to wash the sheets. So now the sheets are in the dryer right now, and so and you have like there's like it's it's like so now that, I'll probably sleep on these tonight if I get home in time to because she'll peter out and say I'll put them on tomorrow. So, but
well, you have a task when you get home. Put those sheets on.
Put the sheets on.
Miracle Brand. All right, guys. BetterHelp. This is a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. And every one of us in this room and everyone listening, I'm sure, can think of a time when they were stuck with a problem that they needed to talk to someone about. And BetterHelp is the app offering what could be a real situation-changing, eye-opening experience. And what it is therapy. It's therapy done online, courtesy of BetterHelp. Now, if you're thinking of therapy, if you are working through something, if you're working through a problem, it could be on a large scale, as we've been talking about here for weeks, 2 weeks now. Can't believe it, but 2 weeks. Or it could be something much more simple. Job changes, considering leaving a job you're unhappy with, relationship issues, all these things that we ruminate on, that we sometimes feel we're left on our own to handle. I'm as guilty as anybody about trying to solve it all myself. But if you do realize that talking to somebody could be a gateway and a door to changing that situation for you, and you are considering giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, it's accessible, it's affordable, and it's entirely online. Get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey, and you can switch therapists at any time, but they do their best to pair you with someone who's going to get you to the place you need to get to. So when you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. And I want you to visit betterhelp.com/Kliq today, and you'll get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/Kliq. All right, we do want to get to our public, your public.
I just want to say something about that.
I wish you would.
Sometimes one of the, and this is, I'm just speaking only for myself. Sometimes when I speak to a human being and make eye contact, I don't know if I'm more vulnerable. I don't know what it is, but I have a tendency to get choked up, and I'm working my way through this, and I'm sure that there'll be a time in this process where I will want to talk to somebody. And I want to talk to somebody that is in this field, whether it's some kind of grievance or whatever, death. And I think that this may be for me, I think it will be a good first place for me to go to just kind of, to kind of work through it on my own.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that, that, and I'm just speaking for myself, that it's just, as you were reading that ad, I would just, again, it's been 2 weeks. 6:18 this morning was 2 weeks, and I mean, I don't know if anybody can look on the screen, but I mean, I look a little. I mean, you guys have done some close-ups of me, and I look a little bit rough, and it's amazing that what lack of sleep over the course of 2 weeks will do. And don't I'm not to steal a line from Evita, but don't cry for me, Argentina. You know,
Well, no, it's not a matter of, it's not a sympathy ploy. Nobody feels that that's the case. But as you mentioned, I want to get back to what you said about BetterHelp for a minute. That if you did decide that you wanted to go talk to somebody and you just went to a general therapist, now you're kind of rolling the dice that they will be able to handle grief in a way that it works for you. Whereas this, you fill out that survey beforehand, and the professionals are able to match you with the right therapist for what you want to talk about. So it kind of removes that guesswork and just walking into a random therapist's office.
And I think the biggest problem we have in America is actually, mental health specialist. Anybody that knows anything about mental health, and it's just it's why waste 7 hours in 2 months of trying to perfect fit when you get on the phone and you're going to know whether you click with somebody. And you don't have to leave your house. It's because that's another thing. You dread when you're in any kind of grief is you don't want to leave your house. You don't want, because everybody, they're trying to do the right thing and trying to say I'm so, and it's just that look when they like I'll be in the gym and the person will just like I'll be working out and I'll see this look in the mirror like this. Oh my God! They start to walk over. I'm like, you know what? They're not going to tell me fucking that. Like the way you fucking matched your tennis shoes with your tank top today. that ain't coming. Kev, I just wanted to. I know. It's thank you so much, man. But now I got to fucking sit down and because I was in the zone and I was kind of like wasn't thinking about it, and now I'm thinking about it, and it's like. So
you want to be receptive, but at the same time, you do want the privacy of you want to own your mind. You want to own your mind,
and the outpouring of from complete strangers, and like I said, there's a lot of people that reached out that did find my phone number. I mean, a lot, and found different ways to get a hold of me, and. At the beginning, I guess there was maybe 5 to 10% that was just people that were just thought they could kick me when I was down, and then they just realized that well, fuck, he's as soulless as I thought he was. No. But it's just like I'm not gonna fucking sell. I'm not gonna sell. I'm not gonna show you my weakness. Like unless you sneak in my house and put some. Like if you'd have caught me last night at about 4:30 in the morning till about 5, you would have fucking. But and my whole thing too is like I got handguns and all kind of shit in my house. And my mind doesn't go there, it's like, but at the same time, it's just like, I every day I just say to myself, how in the fuck am like, okay, like now it's Thanksgiving. How do we get through Thanksgiving? How do we get through Christmas? How do we get through his birthday? How do we, and I guess you worked through. I mean, you figure it the fuck out.
Yeah, there's no manual. First of all,
no.
You know that. Second of all, you live through your dad, and the first everything is hard. The first Thanksgiving, the first Christmas, the first birthday, the first everything, and though it never becomes easier, the pain becomes familiar. I remember my wife has asked me, both of her parents are still alive, and my father died when I was 15. And so she would ask me, she said, did it like now when you think about it, do you get sad? And I said, what happens is you forget, time puts distance in the most cruel way. And so the things that bothered you when it first bothered me when it first happened, you begin to forget. It's the cruelest self-preservation technique, but it's the only way to live. Now, a child, completely different. I don't quite know if, like, let's just take one thing, and the door. You talked about the door being open, right? And the Haiti thing, right? That was like his graffiti on your home that you're going to walk by all the time. It's never not going to be there. And the preservation, and your wife had a discussion with you about the preservation of things. We talked about hats, I think was what you brought up.
And I, when we talked about it, I said, when the time is right, like, I'm going to take out, because I'm going to take his room. Like, I'm going to sleep in his room, and, but, for me, like, my dad, like, because, he died when I was 8, I always have that whole fucking butterfly effect. Like, what if, like, what if I had, my dad, when I was going through the recruiting process, what if my dad said, fuck you, you're going to Michigan State, they're going to be national champions. Like, like, what I mean? Like, what if, and
yeah.
And now, it's just like, I don't know, like my son and I were we were setting up to go to Alaska, and that ain't gonna fucking happen. So, and it's like it's not exactly on Tamara's fucking wish list. Hey, how about the fucking fuck that? I showed her the food in Iceland. She said, "I'll pass on that motherfucker."
Well, I think that you can safely put aside for now.
Yeah.
And
no, it's just fucked. Just fucked. But hey,
it's that little, like, learning to live without a limb. There's that, they call it the phantom. Like, you always feel the arm when you have it amputated still. You always feel like it's still there.
Tamara went today, and she went to this like Earth Angel lady that's a friend of everybody, but she's an amazing acupuncturist, and she did some work, and she did some like stuff in the back of her skull, and like Tamara had this, like, it almost brought her, like, it was so painful that when she did it, that it brought her to somehow align with T's pain when he made that noise, like before he went to the seizure. And she came home, and she was just like, she says, like, I don't know what happened. I don't know if T was with me, and that's one thing I've noticed is, like, before, when I walked in here tonight, I said, because the last one was hard as fuck. The last one, I mean, I didn't know when I walked in here, because that one was, like I said, it was bottomed out, and this one, it's, like, the funny thing is, and like T, when he found out, I don't know if Steve told him, or I don't know who told somebody told him that if you get 100,000 subscribers, that you get, like, that plaque.
Right, the YouTube plaque.
From YouTube.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was like, fuck, man, like, that's all he thought. I mean,
it became a goal.
Yes. He was like, and then I think we all talked one night, all of us, when we got done, and like, we were all on the screen, and I think Steve was saying, "No, I think you get one, and you could buy the other ones." And we got in the car that night, and he said, "And I'll be getting one of those. I'll be getting one of those motherfuckers." So to me, that's the thing. It's just like, I have to keep this going for as long as it takes to get 100,000 subscribers, because I'm putting Tristan Nash on a plaque and putting that motherfucker in this condo, you know, and like I'm taking some of it, like I'm taking the yeoman portion of his urn. All right.
Okay, well, we're more than half.
Good old Haiti. But we're and I'm taking a nice size urn of him down here with me, and it's going to be on the end of my table here as I work, and hopefully we can get 100,000 people to subscribe, if nothing else, just for tea. So
let's make it happen, people. You're listening. Tell a friend. If you listen every week and you listen, I know how many people listen to this show, and it's people, they're just not clicking subscribe. So all you guys listening, hundreds of thousands of people, click subscribe so we can get that. Yeah,
because it doesn't make us any money. It just gives us a fucking plaque. And I'm gonna have to pay for one anyway. So actually, I'm losing on this.
He's in the red.
Yeah, I'm losing on this deal. But I know that somebody looking from upstairs would be like, "Attaboy, Dad, way not to drop the fucking ball." So.
Right. All right, Ask Nash, hashtag Ask Nash if you'd like to be a part of this segment every week. Peter D says, can Kev take us through his mobile phone contact list and tell us the name of wrestling people he has on it? Probably have everybody on there, don't you?
Yeah. Let's see here. I'll just go real. I'll just go through a couple that are on my. Because the people that I talked to, even though they may not, I got Scott Dallas, HBK, Paul, Sean, Stone Cold, Hulk, Sting. Do I have his real name? Ric Flair. And as I touch it, I mean, Raven, Konnan, Disco. I mean, I've got everybody.
Okay.
This is one thing I want to say, and through all this, Konnan and I had kind of a rocky, little patch. And we ended up not, kind of lost contact and lost our friendship. And he reached out when T passed, and I reached out to him, and we talked for a couple hours, and so.
And he proved himself compassionate and.
Yeah, he was cool. He was. I think we both realized why we were such great friends in the first place. And we just let, a stupid business,
Yeah.
So.
Okay. He didn't bring up the $500 that he owes me, did he? In the discussion.
I'll pay you it.
Yes. No. It's not. No. Principle.
No, it's just I don't want this would be cool. I want him to feel that he's welcome here.
Okay. Well, it was certainly nice that he did reach out and offer his condolences. You guys patched up whatever issues you had. I've heard I did hear him talk on the show in the past about you in a fond way before your discussion. This is like months ago or maybe weeks ago, but he did speak of you fondly. So for what it's worth,
you know what? It's like how many times you drive from like Amarillo to Midland, Texas, and two guys really don't know each other that well, but we're in the Wolfpack together now. We're driving. We're in a Cadillac, just me and him. We stopped at some like diner, type thing, and they had some Tex-Mex, and I think we had ribs. So we're getting in the car, and we said, back when you were young, anybody on earth that you could pick for a woman who was the hottest. And we both looked at each other and said at the exact same time, Raquel Welch. And I was just like, I said, all right. I said, that alone was just, that speaks volumes.
A fine choice, though, too.
Mm-hmm.
Chase McCoy, Kevin, do you remember your first independent match in December 2008 in Green Bay, Wisconsin?
When it was like minus 100?
Probably.
Yeah. We were at a bar, weren't we? No, we went to a bar afterwards. It was like at a multi, like you could play volleyball there, or you could do other things. Like there was like one of those multi-sports things. And then we went to a bar afterwards. And then after we went to the bar and had some beers, we left. And I was with my buddy Dave Hero, and Dave was driving, and he had an Expedition, and we got in that Expedition, and it was so cold while we tried to get warm that I thought my heart was going to stop. Unbelievable. Do I have a boogie? Do I have a boogie?
Probably couldn't tell from here. No So Grande, during your movie career, who are the top 5 people you've worked with from Hollywood that would actually make a decent showing in the ring?
Channing for sure. Thomas Jane would have. Joe would have. Adam Rodriguez would have. I'll bet money Tom Cruise would have. That's 5, right?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
What about Cruise? That's interesting that you were emphatic about that. He's a shorter guy.
He's
very charismatic, certainly.
But there's this. If you ever watch Rock of Ages, there's a scene that he's walking on the top of this bar that's, I don't know, probably about that tall on me, and he jumps down. He's got cowboy boots on, and he did it like 15 times in a row, and and he was singing while he was doing it, and it was just like everything he did was just. It was so, because what we do is so repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
Like once he would have got the shit down, he would have killed.
Okay.
I mean, fuck the guy. If a guy can teach himself to fly a fighter jet, I'm sure he can fucking do a hip toss.
That's true. Damian Darling, your old friend.
Hey,
did you unblock him?
Yeah,
you did. Okay. Was someone specific the go-to for putting together the Kliq's classic matches from WrestleMania 10 and 11, SummerSlam 94, Action Zone, etc.? Were they put together in the locker room, bar, car? Did it take days, hours, or on the fly?
WrestleMania 10. I want to think that was because we worked. I think that was put together probably Saturday night. I think we were in a hotel, Pennsylvania, or whatever, some shit hotel, in Manhattan, because we couldn't afford as a company to stay anywhere nice. Action Zone, we put that together on the fly. We did that in White Plains. We just put that together on the fly. I don't know what else.
SummerSlam 94.
Was that the other ladder match?
No, someone tell us.
It had to be the other ladder match, because it sure as fuck wasn't me and Mabel. So it was the other. It was the other ladder match. That was a lot. It was because that was when they couldn't use the. They were told not to use the ladder as weapons, and Triple H put a ton of that together in a Hampton Inn in Worcester. I remember.
Okay. The original.
No, that's it. That's the Diesel. That's the Diesel. I just saw that it was the Diesel Razor Ramon with Walter Payton.
That was 94.
Yeah, that was 94. That was the first. That was the. No, that's the SummerSlam 95.
Mabel was 95.
Oh,
yeah.
I remember coming into that Walter with the match with Walter Payton, and like Scott and I had worked like 1,000 times with no days off, and we got there, and it was just like we just did like our kind of like what we would do if we were doing a garden house show. Like we didn't do, it was just like we were just trying to get through the night, which is horrible. I remember AJ's first WrestleMania, and I walked up to him and I said, and he was just like, "Fuck, man." He said, "I just, because they ran him ragged." He was just like, I just want to get through this." And I said, "No." I said, "That's what they do." I said, they rob you of these moments. I said, "Cherish this, because one day you're going to be my age, knowing that you're never going to get out there again. And you'll wish to God that you savored, this moment that you have right now." And he said, "Well, go fuck yourself." I said, "Okay, I was just trying to help."
The beginning of an angle. The original George Captor, subscriber of the podcast since day one. Love it. Wanted to ask Kev, who was his favorite referee to work with and why?
I mean, Chio was always, I always thought he was great. Like Earl was real good on the false finishes. Robinson was great at WCW. Joey was great. God rest his soul.
Morella?
Yeah. But they all had something. They all had something different.
Mm-hmm. Brandon Good. Any good Curt Hennig stories? Never feel like he gets enough credit for just how good he was. Love everything you do. Kev and Sean, keep up the good work. It's been fun to grow up with both of you. Okay. Curt Hennig.
I mean, I think Curt was one of the biggest influences to both Scott and to Shawn Michaels.
Mm-hmm.
You can't,
from Minneapolis.
Yeah, from the AWA days, and I think they were actually maybe in Kansas City with those guys too. But I mean, and so though it was by proxy, I was heavily influenced by Scott and Sean, and then also that whole Robbinsdale crew of Rude and Hennig and all those guys. I think we were all influenced by that. I think Curt was the first guy that really went out there. I remember him working one of those Saturday main events against Hogan, and just I think he had I want to think he had an orange, like
he did.
Yeah,
yes,
and just did. I mean, it just did. I mean, it made Hulk. And Hulk won't take this as any slight, but made Hulk look like he could fucking go. And that's what I used to love about Shawn Michaels. He could do that. You could just go, throw him in the corner, go, do that thing you do. And, Hennig could come out and do a twirly twirl and boom. And Man, it made your shit look like it was magic.
Mm.
So I mean, if he had that ability to do that with anyone, and he was, he could grapple. Like Curt could work your leg, Curt could work your arm, Curt could, but Curt could kick and punch. He could shift gears when he was a heel. He looked like he was trying to hurt you. Curt was great. There's a reason he's in the Hall of Fame, and there's a reason that when you talk about, probably the top 5 just in-ring personnel, that he's usually in the top of that conversation.
Agreed.
And he was a wonderful lover.
And this week, we did not forget about the Bunkhouse Stampede.
We did not. We did not.
And I was a little caught off guard. I don't have the cowboy boots. I didn't tape my fists. I'm certainly not wearing spikes. But
I'm bleeding from my urethra right now. I did.
Right.
I went ahead and bladed. I re-circumcised myself.
You bladed? So maybe you tried to get it in that iced tea container.
Yeah, I tried. The X-Acto knife slipped.
Well, we should tell everyone that Kliq This is a production of Butch and Sundance Media, produced in association with Podcast Heat, created by Kevin Nash, Tristan Nash, and Sean Oliver, producer Steve Kaufman, graphics and social media by Dominic D'Angelo, title sequence and audio edit by Wesley Burleson, theme song by Dale Oliver, technical research by by Tristan Nash. Imagine that, technical research by Kevin Nash. Copyright 2022, Butch and Sundance Media. Kev, do me a favor. Ask your son if we can do another, will you?
Hey, T, can we do another one? What's that? Hold on. I can't hear. It says depends on how close we get to 100K.
That's in your hands.